Hi guys, back once again for another video, and this time I'm talking about the new Tardis Console room for the Jodie Whittaker 11th series Tardis. Now obviously, due to the nature of what's been happening with the BBC and with the way that people seem to be getting hit with copyright strikes, I'm not going to be able to show you any pictures of the new Tardis Console room, but that doesn't stop me from being able to talk about what I've seen. So I'm assuming that what I've seen is genuine. As far as I can tell, there's no reason to believe that it's not. So let's get right into it, because I've spent enough time with the images now that I've formed several opinions and come to a conclusion. So let's get into talking about what I think of the new interior Tardis set. So let's start off with the walls. The walls appear to be a webbing of hexagonal framework with some either fiberglass insert or vacuum plastic inserts just spattered in here and there. There doesn't seem to be any sort of pattern going on there. They just seem to be irregular inserts. The rest of the webbing is empty, and you can see through to the back wall, which is a set of hexagonal blocks with a circle cut out and a tri-spoke alloy wheel insert of some kind. It appears to be a sort of a 3-spoke with a 3-spoke behind it on a different axis. I'm not really keen on that sort of design. That, you know, this sort of endoskeleton design for a wall set that makes you be able to see through, because it takes up a lot of space. It doesn't really add anything to the design, and the other thing is that these walls appear to be on trucks, which they probably are, because they probably made the set to be more filming friendly, so that these walls are probably wild, and they can probably just move these walls up whenever they need. But as for the actual design itself, I'll get into more of why I'm not really that keen on the design of it myself a little bit later on. But let's move on to, say, the floor. The floor just appears to be a flat floor with some hexagonal lighting coming from the ground up. There's a couple of steps leading up to the console, which appear to have some Gallifreyan glyph running around the edge. Now, in some shots it appears to be backlit, in other shots not so much. I would assume they're backlit. I can't see why you wouldn't backlight them. They've got lights running through the set everywhere, so I can't see why you wouldn't backlight those. And of course, when you get up onto the top step, you have these pillars that go up over to meet the time rotor. So it's very reminiscent of the Paul McGann TARDIS set interior. You've got the console in the middle. The console appears to be, I don't want to say steampunk, it's more like broken steampunk. Steam trash, if you will. It looks like the console has been made up from the plumbing section at B&Q. It's quite higgledy-piggledy. You see, I'm not really keen on that styling. I'll get around to talking about that as well in a bit. And then we've got the actual entrance to the TARDIS. Now, the entrance to the TARDIS has always been, you walk through the front doors, you cross the interdimensional plane, and then you're in the interior of the TARDIS. This time, however, they've changed it. This time you go through the front doors, you walk through the box, and then you walk out through the back wall of the box into the TARDIS. I'm really not keen on that. Out of all the things I've seen of this TARDIS interior, that's the one thing that I really don't like. It's like they've tried to rationalise how the TARDIS has, you know, windows on the left and right, and how it's got doors on the front, and how you can cross that interdimensional plane and link the inside to the outside. It loses some of the magic if you try to rationalise how you can do that. And and it looks odd as well, by the way. It looks like the TARDIS now has a porch. Because they've actually got the full interior of the box attached onto the set. I'm really not keen on that idea. You know, I think it's going to work well for people who want to, you know, build a TARDIS and put it next to a back door or something, so that you can step through the TARDIS into the house or whatever. But as for an actual thing, it's just not what I was expecting, and it's something that it looks odd when you see it, and I'm just really not keen on it. Now, back to talking about the overall aesthetic of the interior of the TARDIS here. I've come to the conclusion I'm not a fan of this design for the interior of the TARDIS. Why? Because honestly, nothing matches. There's no theme. There's no running theme that goes through this set. You've got what appear to be hubcap walls surrounded by framework, which doesn't match the styling of the floor. The floor doesn't match the styling of the pillars, which are these great big huge... It looks like they nicked the pillars from Christopher Reeve's Fortress of Solitude. And then you've got this steampunk or steam trash console in the middle. So the console doesn't match the floor doesn't match the walls don't match the pillars don't match the console. Nothing matches. Also as well, it appears that they've lit the pillars pink, because obvious is obvious. But yeah, I mean, this set looks like it looks cheap. Okay, it looks like that they've decided to make a set that can be taken down and dismantled and moved and packed away. It looks like they made the set on the basis that what's going to be easier to get the cameras in. And while that's all very well and good, it lacks a certain flair to it. The console room looks a lot smaller than the Capaldi console room. And I mean, obviously it depends. I don't think we're going to be spending a lot of time inside the TARDIS for this season. I don't know why, but I've got this vibe that we're just not going to spend that much time in there. But the actual aesthetic design doesn't have one. Also as well, these pillars appear to not touch at the top. It's like this sort of claw sort of design around the console whereby it doesn't actually quite meet up. Remember Star Trek 5? Remember the Shakari pillars? It's kind of like that. So I remember what such of a good idea that was. It's kind of hideous. It does. It's like a crystalline facehugger's breaking through the floor. It's just unpleasant to look at. It's like an upside down dead spider. It's really, it's just unpleasant to look at, and again everything looks like it's capable of coming off. Nothing looks like it's fixed. The pillars just look like they planted onto the floor with some squirty foam around the edge to make it look like it's broken through. Again, all the walls look like they're wild, so they can be trucked off and trolleyed away. It's just not a very good looking set, and I don't really know what to say about that. I think more of an effort needed to be made, and this wasn't it. Again, they're going with something different, but if they wanted to really sort of sell new interior of the TARDIS, I don't think this says TARDIS at all. Like I said, there's no running theme here. Nothing matches anything. It's, you know, like I said, the floor doesn't match the walls don't match the console. It's a bit of a design mess. It looks like a Space 1999 Eagle crashed with an alloy wheel shop that was just built next door to Superman's Fortress of Solitude. It's just a mess. And then they decided to go to B&Q to fix it all up. It's just a real... it's not for me. Anyway, I'm going to leave this there because I don't think there's anything really more I can talk about with this video, except for the fact that the colour scheme of blue and pink with a sort of a brass console, I don't think works. And I think that's really the problem with this interior. I don't think anything works. It's not like, you know, Captain Nemo's Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where everything has this running theme of, you know, sort of brass pillars and rivets and all that, and very steampunk. This has no theme. It just lacks this sort of. It's like they've tried to mishmash technologies that don't work together. I think I would have preferred something else. But anyway, I'm going to leave that there and say, look, let me know what you think of the interior of the new TARDIS. And leave it down in the comments down below. But until next time, I'll see you later, guys.